Hello and welcome to another episode of Chuchu Reviews, the show where I take 4 random unrelated albums, I stick them in a blender and then I review them, I rate them and I rank them. And that's it, simplicity achieved. 3 of the records this week are pulled from the last episode's comments section, so if you'd like to see an album featured, drop it down in the comments and who knows, you might just get lucky. So introducing this week's lineup in alphabetical order. First up we have Underground by the Electric Prunes from 1967, which was nominated for inclusion by Gary Gillum. Next up we have Nilsson Schmilsson by Harry Nilsson from 1971, which was nominated for inclusion by Stee. Then we have Spiders by Space from 1996, which is my contribution to the dance. Lastly we have Laugh by Terry Hall from 1997, which was nominated for inclusion by Sundry 3. So now the battle lines are drawn, let's be complete rankers and rank up a storm. This is Chuchu Reviews. So coming in last place this time we have Spiders by the Liverpudlian Britpop band Space, which was their debut LP from 1996. Which was the hip new thing at the time, with Space being branded as like the saviours of Britpop and other such hyperbolic stuff. Of course, that wasn't to be, as Space, much like Britpop itself, turned out to be a flash in the pan. And this record holds a lot of personal nostalgia for me, but coming back to it now as an adult almost 30 years later, and wow, this record has not aged well. It's like a microcosm for all of the bad things about late 90s music. The slickly bland production, the repetitious overuse of trip-hop beats, ill-advised sojourns into pseudo-rap and lots of blips and bloops and other digital effects that many rock bands used at the time to make them sound more modern, which ironically in retrospect just made them sound dated as fuck, and not in a pleasingly nostalgic way. As for the songs themselves, well, it's a really mixed bag. There are definitely some good songs on this. The singles, for example, were all great. Open and Neighbourhood is fantastic with its odd melody, cool theremin riff and lyrical roll call of gothic freaks and weirdos. The Female of the Species is probably the most famous track on the album, a glorious bit of 1980s pop with the otherworldly sheen of a 1960s sci-fi B-movie. Me and You vs. the World is a nice jangling pop tune with lyrics that play out like a Tarantino movie, while Dark Clouds has an upbeat sway to its unusual mariachi-infused ballad. And a few of the album cuts also passed muster. Mr. Psycho has a fun glowering vocal performance, while Money is excellent as over industrial beats the band lay down a theatrical tale of a miserly Scrooge type character. It's insanely catchy and a lot of fun. But for every good song, there's also a bad one. Love Child of the Queen is a gothic carny song that combines an unappealing melody with crap lyrics that think they're being clever, and also the annoyance of the singer constantly rolling his R's. Charlie M is so late 90s sounding in a bad way that it makes you want to go out and get a bowl cut and skin your knee skateboarding. While tracks like No One Understands, Voodoo Roller, Major Pager and Drop Dead are about as rote as Britpop filler gets. So yeah, despite some good songs that are mostly confined to the first half of the record, thus making it very lopsided, this LP is just too fractured and inconsistent to recommend. It will always have a nostalgic place in my heart, but this gets 2.5 stars. Next up we have Laugh by the late great Terry Hall, which was his second solo LP from 1997. Of course, Terry was most well known for his tenure with the ska outfit The Specials. Surprisingly, this LP has not one iota of ska about it, instead being an album of slickly produced Britpop ballads with an introspective, miserable bent to them. Whilst that does make the album a little one note, a few more jangly pop tunes wouldn't have gone amiss here, it's nevertheless really well done and nicely emotive without becoming overwrought. It's not quite immune to the odd Britpop filler track though. For the girls it's total anodyne fluff, while A Room Full of Nothing has an odd circus-like melody that doesn't really work. But everything else on this hits its miserable mark. Highlights include the opener, Love to See You, with its lovely romantic yet bittersweet balladry, powered by shimmering guitars. Ballad of a Landlord has an emotive build-up that echoes pulp, including some distinctly Jarvis Cocker-esque lyrics about squalid bedrooms. Misty Water pulls things in an epic, swooningly grandiose direction. Summer Follows Spring has a wonderful Smithian jangle to it, provided by Craig Gannon no less. Terry's Morrissey-esque vocal lilt is also pretty tasty, as are the miserable lyrics about getting cheated on. While Closer, I Saw the Light really reminds me of the Lightning Seeds with its bouncing R&B inflected Britpop flutter. So yeah, this is a good album material to listen to while crying into your beer. It's slick and epic and nicely cohesive. 4 stars. Next up we have Nilsson Schmilsson by American singer-songwriter Harry Nilsson, which was his 7th LP from 1971. And what we have here is a basic pop record. Nothing too layered, complex or ostentatious, just a set of well-written songs with great hooks and superior melodies. At 10 tracks and 35 minutes, Nilsson keeps things tight and on point, with only the penultimate track, Jump Into Fire, marching off into epic territory, bringing revving bass lines, glowering guitar and thunderous amplified drums to the table for a late album highlight. And highlight's the name of the game here, despite the album's lightweight nature. Opener, Gotta Get Up, is straight in there with iconic catchiness and euphoric choruses. The Moonbeam song is great with a gorgeous melody, choral backing vocals and an immediately soothing guitar jangle. Without You is one of the most iconic ballads of all time. It feels like one of those truly timeless songs that's somehow always been floating out there from the moment the first early humans learned how to whistle a melody. The power that comes rolling in off the chorus is just amazing. Talking of iconic, Coconut brings a bizarre yet addictive Caribbean groove to the record. It's lots of weird yet kooky fun, while Closer, I'll Never Leave You is a wonderful Baroque chamber pop ballad, flush with sweeping horns and strings. That said, there is the odd disposable tune on here too, which is a shame because a record that lasts only 35 minutes really should be smashing home runs on every track. Still, songs like Down and Early in the Morning don't quite hit the needed level of quality, and although they're not bad songs, they certainly stand out as weaker additions. Still, this is an extremely pleasant pop record that makes for a breezy and light listen while still being home to a clutch of iconic bangers. 4.5 stars. So, the Chuchu Review's gold medal this week is going to go to Underground, which was the second album by American garage rock band The Electric Prunes from 1967. And here we have an excellent avant-garde, almost shoegazy LP, with elements of post-punk woven into its seams, which is an incredible thing to say about a record from 1967, as both shoegaze and post-punk were years away from fruition. I think it's pretty safe to say that The Electric Prunes were way ahead of their time. Perhaps even more surprising is just how consistent and cohesive the album is, with no weak tracks in sight and a track list that feels strikingly contemporary in its style, atmosphere and sequencing. Highlights on a true hidden gem include the opener, The Great Banana Hoax, which is a banger with its rolling drum lines and art rock atmosphere hooking you into the record immediately. Wind Up Toys is awesome, its rhythmically straightjacketed composition impressing with its avant-garde spirit. Antique Doll has a drone of distorted guitars in the background, which is very rare for a track from the 60s, but the song is still incredibly catchy. Dr. Dogood is fantastic with its slivering theatricality calling forward to Nick Cave and gothic rock. I has a striking minimalism that recalls Echo and the Bunnymen's Thorn of Crowns. Hideaway kicks ass with its relentlessly thundering drums and whipping guitar riffs. Big City is a great off-kilter ballad that features these giant reverb-soaked chords that sound like the building blocks of shoegaze, while Long Day's Flight is a rocking closer, its effects wash leading the LP to an epic conclusion. So yeah, this album is as awesome as it is surprising. It's truly hard to believe that this is from 1967. This is a true underground classic and it gets a full 5 stars. And that's it. That's this episode of Chuchu Reviews in the books. Of course, I'm sure you'd rank these records differently. Sound off in the comments section and tell me which one would win for you. Like, share, subscribe and all that other kind of YouTube jazz. Feel free to nominate albums you'd like to see featured. Make sure to take care of yourself, but most importantly, just keep on ranking.